The Tao of Self-Confidence, episode 860. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. Visit our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits. Well, hello, friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap Chan, and today I have a phenomenal woman on the show today. She is the founder of Wang Ventures, and I'm really excited to have her on today to share her story about confidence and how she trailblazed her way to get to where she is today. And so without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Amy Wang. Amy, how are you today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more about yourself to the listeners.
Yes. Hi, Sheena. I really appreciate you having me here today. Thanks for the opportunity. Yeah, I can talk a little bit about my experience, a little bit around my background. I have multiple areas that I've worked in. I have over 20 years of product leadership and software development experience working at major tech firms in the San Francisco Bay Area. I also currently spend some of my time in startup advisory work and consulting. In addition to that, I have worked over 16 years in commercial real estate investments. And so over a year ago, launched a real estate investment firm called Wang Ventures. I also do a lot of mentoring of women as they navigate their career path. So you can say I'm a busy person, but I really do enjoy the various lines of work.
Awesome. And I love that. And you still have, your kids and your family.
That's right. I definitely make time for family and also self-care, right? That's also very important. So there's a lot going on.
Yeah, totally. And I love that. I love that, you get to do what you want. You're mentoring other women because it's so important, especially just within our community, what's been happening lately. We just need more representation, more mentors, showing, our current and future generations what's possible. And, you're a great example of that. So I'm really glad you're able to do that. And Amy, what's your cultural background?
So I am Taiwanese American. I was born in Taiwan, and as a toddler, I immigrated to the U.S. with my parents. During my childhood, I lived in various places in Utah, Illinois, Taiwan as well, and California.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And what'd be your favorite self-confidence quote?
I really do enjoy reading various books and quotes. So I would say I would like to share something from one of the poets that I really like, Morgan Harper Nichols. This is just a very short poem. It's a quote. She says, "Step into the unknown and learn as you go. Walk through fire and come forth refined as gold and journey on. You have been made new and you see nothing is ordinary." And I really like this because it's really about being bold and venturing into the unknown with self-confidence and coming out brighter, like gold and more amazing as you continue on in life, and really discovering that nothing is that ordinary, that there are a lot of extraordinary things in your life if you just kind of step forward. And I find that quite inspiring.
I love that. And especially since our culture always teaches us to have stability, know what our way is, not step into the unknown, which is something that's like the total opposite. But being able to embrace the unknown is where you actually can create your own opportunities, go out there, figure things out along the way. It's, instead of seeing it as like the end of the world, it's actually a new beginning. It's like, what amazing things can happen, right? When you just see it in a different perspective. And I love that you mentioned that because, nobody teaches us to like step into the unknown and just fail forward and make mistakes and not to worry about it and just course correct along the way. And you don't have to show up as perfect, right? Because most of the time we're told you got to be perfect. You got to be the perfect daughter, wife, sister, whatever, right? And that stops us from moving forward. So I really love that quote that you mentioned. And Amy, what's your definition of self-confidence?
Yeah, so I would say that it's really about living without that fear of really being truly authentic to yourself for your own sake, really, and for telling your own truth and to yourself, but also the world around you, like not being apologetic about it and knowing that you really do have a tremendous amount to offer in life. And it really is about being okay also that you may not know how everything's going to turn out, but like you were saying, just being very courageous and taking that leap of faith sometimes. And that can be really the stepping stone to that next chapter, right? And things may unfold from there. So I would say that that's my definition.
I love that definition. And Amy, what was your life like before you discovered self-confidence?
Yeah, I would say that most people would venture to say that I've had a relatively successful path in life. And at least on the surface, it would seem that way. I think ever since I was young, I was checking those boxes, kind of like you're saying, doing the right thing, right? And academics and college, marriage, career, right? But I don't think I was fully conscious of or aware of, whether what it meant to be self-confident or not, right? But if I look back and reflect now, there's a lot of times I know that I held back my thoughts, my opinions. It could be when I was in college or grad school or with extended family or in the corporate world, right? So in certain situations, I would not be, comfortable or as far as what I would say, whether it was the right thing, how it would be perceived, and be too mindful of like how other opinions, would affect my own self-confidence. And so that I think also affected my ability or the opportunity to fully discover who I was earlier in life and be more enlightened about myself and be fully confident in what I could do and what I was capable of.
Yeah, it's not always easy to show up as your true self, right? Especially when you've been taught to do one thing, that's been taught from generation to generation and thinking there's only one way to be successful in life. And especially as women, especially Asian women, we're really just told to go to school, get a job, get married, make babies, never rock the boat, right? And that really hurts us, right? Because there's way more than that. And then, we're always told to, please everyone else before we, take care of ourselves. And that really hurts us as well because we get burnt out. We don't feel good enough. We feel like we have to be everything for everyone else. And then we forget the most important person in the world, which is ourselves. And so I remember joining a cohort, and one of the ladies was talking about having a no diet. And so it's being able to say no to the things that don't serve you. And I was like, I love that because, setting boundaries is not something we're good at, right? So being able to create a no diet was like, oh, I need to do that. Cause I'm not perfect. I still, say yes to things that don't serve me because I'm human, right? And I've been it's been ingrained in me since I was a child. And just learning to be aware and realizing like, will that hurt me? Am I enabling the other person when I do that? We don't really think about these things or ask these kind of questions as we just say yes without really, being aware of it. So I love that, you mentioned like, not being able to speak your truth because a lot of people are going through that and still go through that and realize they're not the only ones who go through that. And what was that point in your life when you realized you can go out there, be your own boss, be a trailblazer, have that confidence? What was that aha moment in your life?
I would say that I came to that clarity and that aha moment when it was the first time, in my career where we were all working from home due to the pandemic and really forced to pause and internalize where I was in my life. And it's been a journey, right? It's many years to that point of realization and what kind of impact I've made to others in my life and my career. But then going like deeper into that as far as like, what's most meaningful for me? How do I want to spend my time? What makes me happy? What makes me sad? What makes, me fulfilled, right? And so, also going through like certain challenges in life, it really can shift your mindset and those things can really give opportunity to more transformation. So I see everything sort of as a learning. And this really propelled me and gave me that courage to walk away really from a very successful career, very stable paycheck and this corporate ladder I was climbing to shift and start my own business and become an entrepreneur. And making that step forward was not easy, but it was that point of like, hey, it's time to really take a bigger leap and to define my own path in a bigger way. So that light bulb moment may have been many years in the making, but like you said, you're never necessarily fully ready and take that risk. I was willing to do that to see what was on the other side.
I love that. And they always say fortune favors the bold. Sometimes we just got to jump off that cliff and be like, make the most of it. Whatever happens, we course correct along the way. Because we are more than enough to figure things out along the way, especially as women. Women are phenomenal when you think about it, especially like when you hear about stories of your ancestors, your grandparents, your great grandparents, what they had to go through, it's like what they went through was 10 times worse than what we're going through, right? And if they can push through, so can we. And I'm not saying we have to do what they did, because of course there's certain things that I don't agree with. I'm just saying they had the tenacity, they had the persistence just to make it work. And being able to learn from that, it's like, oh wow, if they can do it, then I can do it because, I'm a part of them. I'm related to them. I should have that tenacity, that boldness, the persistence to keep moving forward. So I love that you were able to venture on your own, especially, at a time like the pandemic. I know recently, a lot of companies laid off a lot of people. And for some people, that might be the end of the world. But maybe it's a blessing in disguise. Maybe it's another door opening. We just don't know. And I'm not saying like, maybe it's a good thing. Yes, it's unfortunate it happened, but, maybe we have to look at it a different light. I mean, a lot of people were able to have successful businesses out of the pandemic. So maybe this is another kind of pivot that people might have to do and see like, oh, there's better opportunities out there, or I'll create my own opportunities. I have what it takes. So I'm just going to go out there and, just jump off the cliff and see what happens. Right. And because of that, what's your life been like now?
Yeah, it's what you're saying. It's sort of like there's more. It's been eye-opening actually when you take that leap and you jump off that cliff and you open the door to different opportunities that you may have not even imagined, and they present themselves as you broaden your horizon. And I think I've also had tremendous growth in different ways, right? In real estate and running your own business. And I also now have this sort of community of entrepreneurs. You just see like all the innovation and all the energy that's being poured into so many different products and services and all different aspects of and different lines of business. And it's been really amazing to see that and being able to take more control of my own time and my own energy. It's tremendous as far as like some of the changes. I would say like it hasn't all been easy and not always like the grass is greener in any case, but it's more in that you're more aware, you're more knowing of yourself. And I think that's a very powerful thing, right? And also, like you were alluding to, it's like nothing's permanent, right? Things are still evolving and it's okay. And, it gives me confidence that, this inner voice in me is like, just keep moving down this journey. And it really doesn't have to be a straight line. And it's actually more interesting and more meaningful and multifaceted if you kind of mix things up and try new things. And so that's been a really great aspect of this discovery and this journey.
I love that. And it's amazing. Like, I love that you mentioned entrepreneurship isn't easy, because if it was, everyone would be doing it, right? It's literally a lot easier to go to a 9-to-5 job than to, figure things out on your own, not having a steady paycheck, working even 24 hours in a day. And it's, but of course you get to pick what you love to do, right? You get to do things on your own time, you set your own schedule, but it does take work on your part as well, right? Whether it's time or money or both. And I think most people have this like, like this perception of what entrepreneurship looks like because of social media, of course. Like, yeah, I have the hot cars, the big houses, the fancy vacations. And I'm saying you can't get that, but they had to work for it to get at that point. So, I love that you mentioned that. And, to the woman who's listening to your episode, she may be in her own journey to self-confidence. What would be that one tip you'd give to her?
Yeah, I mean, I think the self-confidence comes from a number of places, but I also, we talk about this notion of courage, combine those two things, and really, we're all trying to build that up. And I think it's still better to really take that step. And sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes you may fail, but not to have taken that step, you really just continue to wonder, like, what's out there, what's possible, right? And I think today, in what we're talking about, it's also really relevant. Like in my mentorship with women who are early or in the middle of their career, it's very relevant that, we're talking about this notion of self-confidence and amplifying our voices and really pushing ourselves to what our potentials really are. And I'd like to share something like my brother had said to me, and it's sort of along the same lines as just start before you're fully ready, because you're really never going to be. And you can course correct around the way and master your own myth, right? And your story becomes your history, and you can edit the script as often and as frequently as you want. It's like a book you're writing. It's a chapter by chapter, right? So I encourage everyone really to continue pushing forward and developing their unique story.
I love that. And that's great advice. And I love the quote that your brother mentioned because it's so true. Just start before you're ready. If I did that like 5 years ago, I would have been a lot farther, but that's okay, right? Everything happens for a reason. We're all in our own journeys, but we don't have to be in our journeys by ourselves, which is why we have this podcast, phenomenal women like yourself sharing your story, because those stories are so important to share, right? To show others it's okay if you're feeling down. It's okay if you're in a rut. It's okay, if you're going through confidence issues because we're all human, right? With different, scenarios, we learn through them, right? But we don't have to do it alone. We can do it together. And so, Amy, if our listeners want to get to know a little bit more about you, maybe want to be mentored by you, or is maybe looking for some property, is there any links or social media profiles we can connect with?
Yeah, so you can find me on my company website at wayoventures.com or on LinkedIn under Amy Wang or Wayo Ventures. I'm happy to connect about real estate, but also about mentorship, technology, various aspects. I'd just love to kind of hear from folks around their various stories and challenges and just building up this community. So thank you very much, Sheena, for the opportunity to share my story today. I really appreciate what you do to uplift women and help them on their path of growth and, self-confidence.
Thank you so much, Amy. And to our listeners, if you want to connect with Amy, you can also head on over to the taoofselfconfidence.com and search for Amy's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else that we talked about. And I just want to thank Amy again for taking the time to share her journey and tips with us on self-confidence. So thank you so much, Amy.
Thank you, Sheena. Appreciate it.
Not a problem. It was so great having you on the show. And to our listeners, be on the lookout for another new episode of another amazing woman's journey to self-confidence, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of the Tao of Self-Confidence. You can order your copy of Asian Women Who Boss Up book by visiting our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits.